Here we are today with the SNES. We are moving on to a SuperCIC chip, switchless one. So what we've done so far is lift pins 1, 2, 10 and 11 from the actual SuperCIC chip there. Next step is to lift pins 24 off PPU 2 and pin 30 off PPU 1, which will give us 50-60 Hertz control. I've got to get the PIC chip in. We'll be using a PIC 16F630, which is reflashable, which is very good. And just to recap on that, pin 30 off PPU 2, pin 24 off PPU 1. I thought it was 1 and 2. Obviously it's 2 and 1, so that makes a bit of a difference. On your feet. And once you've lifted both the legs, we're going to move on to the next step. You really don't need to apply much heat. But if you want a challenge, use a soldering iron tip that is completely mangled and far too big for this task. I should be using some sort of pencil tip. Much finer than that. That's very thick. And also it's sort of corroding slowly. It's not a very good quality tip. But as you can see, we got the result we needed. So now the next bit is to wire in some wires, and we'll move on to getting the actual chip in. You might also notice this is the one that had the traces repaired a long time ago. It's quite late at night. I have the diagrams here. This is thanks to Ikari 01. There we go. Thanks to him. We have wolfsoft.de photos, which is what we're having a look at, just to get an idea of the routing from the actual chip. So they've gone and stuck it on top of that chip in the bottom left there. As you can see, the cables running from the PPU, they're joined. That's actually one continuous cable. So we're just pretty much replicating that over here on my board. So far I have the yellow cable sort of tacked in. Now I don't know if the code on the chip works, so if it doesn't, it's going to be a pain. But what's more of a pain is it's about 11:30 now on a Sunday. I do have tomorrow off, thankfully. So I am going ahead and stripping the wire using my teeth, because I'm using very thin 30 AWG, and AWG is 0.25. I forgot to bring my wire strippers. So yeah, it's taking a lot longer than I'd like it to, but hopefully it'll work. It is interesting to note that they did use a thicker gauge wire on here. Honestly, I don't care. If it doesn't work, you're going to know pretty quick if I flash the code properly. I did get a configuration verify fail. I don't know if that's going to mean anything at this point. I guess we'll find out soon. But, basically, right there we're looking at, we got the top pin up here is 5V in, which is also moved down to pin 4 as well. So you can just jumper that across. Pin 1 on this chip here, is it pin 1? Yes, pin 1 is 5V, so you can just steal it from there. For the ground, which is actually the pin opposite here, pin 14, we can run that to any ground point. We'll probably just do the same as what they did on the instructions I'm following. So we'll just go straight there to the SRAM. And then some of them have to go off to an LED, which I may or may not have. I was going to do a similar thing. I believe the Mega Drive actually uses this very same chip, the PIC 16F630 to do its switchless mod. And I was going to do that a long time ago, and I did have a bag of LEDs. So maybe they're the ones I need to use. Anyway, I better get back to it. We'll drop back when we've got an update. Hopefully it's before the sun rises. Oh god. Progress report. We have blue wire, yellow wire, and a bit of 5V going in up there. This is very hard to do with the incorrect tools. Of course, a good person and a good workman never blames their tools, but in this case, the soldering iron tip is... I need a new soldering iron tip. Make sure you watch where your solder's going. Ended up with a bit of a bridge here between pins 24 and 25, which wouldn't have ended well. Between 24 and 26 it would have been okay, because they're both ground. But, oh, I think they're ground. They might not be ground. Anyway, you've got to join, so we're doing pin 30 on PPU2 over to pin 24 of PPU1, which then runs on to leg. Where are we going? 12. Which is second one. 1, 2, 3. Third one down there. I ran out of colours, so I had to start using the same ones twice. Good thing I know what I'm doing. Well, we're done. Mostly got to connect in the LEDs, but I can do that in a moment. We ended up clipping into pin 7 of the CIC, not down here. You can see the red wire there goes to pin 8, which then goes all the way up around here and into pin 13 on the SuperCIC chip. Up here we've actually just tapped in. I was trying to work out, just having a look here at the actual thing I'm going off. There's the brown wire that goes straight up there to this clock chip. Turns out that the second pin along there actually runs down on a trace to pin 7 anyway. So that's all good. Everything else seems to be in. Pin 3 is an NC, no connection. So let's get those LEDs in. I've got to see if I've got LEDs. I did actually find some LEDs. They're 3-pin, which means that they're likely, I think, red and green. I think I would have gotten for the Mega Drive 1 for overclocked mode, which goes red or green. I can't remember. Haven't even done it yet, but I'm sure I will at some point. So let's get this wired in. Actually, I've got to find a resistor first. I think something around a 150 should do it. Onto it! So here's the LED on the SNES controller port thing. On the right hand side we have the positive, and on the left hand side we have the ground. You can confirm that by grabbing your multimeter, setting it to test mode, putting one probe on there, which is ground all around there, and just tapping this against the other. Should get continuity, which means that ground is nice and connected. So that's ground. So I've found, managed to track down, what do we got here? We've got 2 resistors. I think they're about 300 ohms. Probably a bit more than I wanted, but given it's really just a test to see if it actually works, I hope it works, because I really don't want to have to desolder that. That would be a pain. So now I've got these, so it's red and green. And if you connect it to straight 5V, which I did using that lovely little adapter over there, which is actually from an IP camera I have, it causes green to go orange and then catches fire. So that's one less LED in the world. Still, I've got a whole bunch of them. So let's move on. Next stop, LED Town. And we're done. It's 1 AM and it's all wired in. So we've got, where are we looking at? Pins 5 and 6 on the SuperCIC, green and red, which go to green and red respectively. And then we've got ground running down the middle there. So as you can see, this bulb is a lot smaller than the one I've got there, because this was for the Mega Drive 1, not for this SNES. It's actually funny that I should end up fixing up a Nintendo product with a mod where I was supposed to do a Mega Drive, which, you know, is what I like to think. I'm a bit more Mega Drive centric, but these SNESes, oh, they're fun to play with. So let's go get this hooked in. It's just sort of hanging there at the moment, so it'll be all good, hopefully. I guess we'll just test it with some PAL games, just make sure the PAL section is still working. Let's look at the little original CIC. F413A. As you can see, it's had a few little modifications there. If it still works, then that's probably a pretty good sign that the SuperCIC is working. Let's get up to the testbed station. Whoops, accidentally gave it a test without connecting resistors. Realised they were still sitting here. So those were 300. But then look what I found. 220. It's like perfect. It's what I needed. And it's probably exactly what I bought for the Mega Drive mod. So I'm going to pop them in the circuit now, and we'll give it a proper test. Now that's what I call LED resistors. Look at that classy soldering. Yep. Alright, so now it looks like looks like someone dropped a packet of Skittles on top of this thing. Man, I could do with a bag of Skittles. Alright, let's get this upstairs.
Here we have a PIC. It's a PIC 16F630 in its natural environment. As you can see, it's enjoying a leaf. How delicious.